Okay, we need to talk about a pretty urgent assessment that just dropped from the Global Harmony Sentinel. It's basically put the entire world on high alert, and we're going to break down exactly what that means. Let's get right into it.
So the report really doesn't pull any punches. Right out of the gate, its main conclusion is stark. Global stability is on high alert. And look, this isn't your everyday political tension. The Sentinel is flagging this as a moment of really unique and, frankly, dangerous strain on the system.
So, what even is the Global Harmony Sentinel? Well, think of it as a kind of seismic detector for the entire planet's political landscape. It's not trying to predict the weather, it's designed to feel the tremors of instability before the earthquake hits, giving us a really clear snapshot of how fragile things are right now.
Now, the first thing this report makes crystal clear is that we're not just dealing with one single problem. The whole reason we're at high alert is because we're facing a bunch of different crises all at the same time. And they're not separate. They're actually feeding off each other, creating this really volatile and unpredictable global environment.
And this isn't some abstract warning about something that might happen down the road. The language is explicit. These are critical threats that need immediate attention. The message here is that the danger isn't coming, it's already here.
So what are these critical threats exactly? The assessment dives deep into them, and we're going to start by looking at the ones that the Sentinel has marked as the absolute most severe.
First up on that list is the U.S. military intervention in Venezuela. You can see right away it's flagged with that red critical indicator. That's the Sentinel telling us it sees this as a huge destabilizing event that's having immediate and severe consequences.
And the reported fallout is just incredibly serious. The operation hasn't just rocked the entire region, it's also being cited for major violations of international law. The report also notes the capture of President Maduro and, tragically, a human toll of more than 56 deaths.
The second critical threat is a little different. It's less about direct military action and more about, the very architecture that's supposed to hold the world together. The Sentinel is pointing to the U.S. pulling out of a whole host of international organizations. And what's just staggering here is the sheer scale of this. We're not talking about leaving one or two agreements. The number you're looking at is 66. That's how many UN-affiliated groups the U.S. has reportedly walked away from. Organizations that cover everything from global health to human rights. This isn't just a symbolic gesture. The assessment warns that a mass withdrawal like this puts the whole system at risk. The very international frameworks that were built to stop conflicts and manage global crises in the first place could actually collapse. Okay, so beyond those critical red-level alerts, the Sentinel also points to a second tier of high threats. Now, these might not be as explosive in the immediate sense, but they are absolutely creating dangerous friction between major world powers. And first on this list is the tension over Greenland, which has just been escalating like crazy. The report details U.S. threats against Denmark concerning the territory, and it's basically turned the once frozen, quiet Arctic into a brand new hotspot for geopolitical conflict. And the ripple effects from this are just huge. I mean, this isn't just some argument between two countries. It's putting a severe strain on the entire NATO alliance. It's kicking off a whole new crisis in the Arctic over who gets the resources and who gets to put their military there.
The next high-level threat is an economic one. The assessment flags brand new, comprehensive U.S. sanctions aimed at Russia's oil sector, and it calls them the toughest sanctions that have ever been imposed. And the cause and effect here couldn't be more direct. The U.S. action is clearly designed to hit a vital part of the Russian economy, but the immediate global effect is a massive disruption to energy markets, and that means wild swings and unpredictable prices that end up affecting all of us. So now that we've seen all these individual threats, the Sentinel's analysis gets to the really important question. What happens when you mix them all together? What are the strategic consequences of all of this happening at the exact same time? The report explores this with a really powerful idea. It's all built around one simple but honestly terrifying question. What if? This is the part of the analysis where they game out how these simmering crises could suddenly just boil over. And just think about these scenarios for a second. What if that dispute over Greenland actually triggers NATO's Collective Defense Clause, Article 5? Or what if the conflict in Venezuela spills over the border into neighboring countries? And what if Russia decides to retaliate for sanctions not with words, but with a massive, crippling cyber attack? Which, of course, leads directly to the next huge question. So what?
If any of those what-ifs actually happen, what's the ultimate impact on the world? Why does any of this matter to the rest of us? Well, the potential outcomes are big. We're talking systemic and severe. Things like a total breakdown of international law, the shattering of critical alliances like NATO, and a very, very real risk of tipping the entire global economy into a major recession. So, given all these pretty scary risks, what's the way out? The final section of this assessment isn't just about doom and gloom. It's actually about solutions. It lays out a strategic response to pull us back from the brink. The strategy they propose is basically a three-pronged approach. First, immediate, urgent diplomacy to de-escalate these tensions right now. Second, smart economic planning to shield us from market shocks. And third, proactive work to repair and strengthen those very alliances that are under so much stress. And really, the report frames this whole thing as a critical choice. You can see this moment of crisis as an opportunity, not to give up on global cooperation, but to actually reinforce the very systems that are being threatened. It suggests that because all the challenges are connected, the solutions have to be too. And that really leaves us with this final essential question. As we're facing all these interconnected challenges, the Sentinel is forcing us to think about not just what could go wrong, but what our collective responsibility is to make things right. In a time like this, what does global harmony actually require from all of us?